A macro time frame historical volatility versus momentum setup has fired a signal, and the upside targets from the stats are very much worth talking about. Let's dive right into those stats to catch an edge over the coming sessions. Welcome back to the channel on this happy Monday. This is ARCa, and let's dive into ticker symbol COSM. Let's kill him, team. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. Let's dive right into COSM and take a look at these charts. Okay, so we're going to start off with the fact that the COSM asset is completely outperforming the IWM spot price action for the Russell 2000 ETF and the E-mini Russell 2000 index futures contracts. Please notice the red printed on these indices as the COSM asset just rips to the upside, completely inversed. Very, very impressive times here. So it looks like the analysis from last week that we provided, right, saying that we were likely to see a floor very soon before an upside worked out, and it's looking very good. And you know that it's working out very good when the shills are actually very much dormant now, right? As I've been just attacked over COSM ever since the day that it went down, right? So very, very curious times here, right, team? It looks like management is trying to get it right this time. I do expect some very good things to come out of the company itself, but that's not why I'm here. Why I'm here is actually to provide the statistical data, right? So before we get to that stat, let's go ahead and take a look at the ARQ composure algorithm, which is able to identify market manipulation, right? So when there is market manipulation, you would get these X's, the yellow X's, right? So as you can see here, we got that yellow X, and bam, this thing just started capitulating like crazy. It started slowing down ever so slightly, and then they started manipulating again, thus turning the downside even further up in volume, right? So we got lots of downside here from those manipulation signals, starting all the way up here from $3.32. You remember when it was, right? July this year. All right, so now the reason why I'm mentioning this is because they clearly didn't even hide that type of manipulation here on a 4-hour time frame. We're getting several manipulation shots at this thing, literally in broad daylight, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at this. This is a very curious manipulation signal that we caught back in September 8th here. So I mean, this is just 10 days ago, right? So we caught this manipulation signal here, and then the downside came in very, very strong to bottom out right at that 98.69, right about 99 cents. And then this kind of served as a potential spring or a shakeout before leading to an eventual upside where everybody started telling me live, like, hey, ARCa, COSM is starting to rip. It's starting to rip, right? So at this point, when we started falling, I said, I actually came back here while we were watching one of William's live YouTube streams. I ended up putting here that it's still looking good, right? So no problem here at all. And the price action has continued to the upside even still. A very good sign here is that you are getting these yellow diamonds. These yellow diamonds are representative of continuation of current trend. So this upside that we're facing on, the yellow diamonds are telling us that the continuation is likely. Now, the blue triangle that we got here was actually signaling that this current trend of consolidation, slight downside, was already finished, and this is likely to create a reversal from this point on. In fact, the algorithm was absolutely correct and very much accurate in its timing as well, right? So we're definitely liking what we're doing here within these algorithms. If you are interested, please get in touch with us at arqindicators@gmail.com, and we'll go ahead and get you loaded up and situated here. So now, for the very much anticipated stats, let's go ahead and go over this, as I do have a 5-day volatility versus momentum backtest. And this is particular from whenever volatility has started to contract from the 90 percentile, and that's paired with an upside pivot here on stochastics, right? So there are very few iterations here, right? So there are only 6 iterations, historically speaking, throughout the entire trading history of the COSM asset on the 5-day time frame. So these are the samples, right? So anytime that that condition has happened, I've measured the upside thrust, the duration of the iteration, and the amount of times that the volatility versus momentum profile has gotten the upside or has guessed the upside correctly versus incorrectly. As you can see here, we have a 100% upside accuracy, which I'm sure that over time it will deviate and it will correct. But for now, it's still on, and we can go over the data set now based off of all of the samples, right? So we have here 6 out of 6 iterations giving us an average upside accuracy of 100%, and we have an average upside thrust of 162.05%, aka the mean, right? So now all of this is done on average over the span of about 116 days. So the curious thing is that the signal just fired. I mean, I guess I can consider it fired as of maybe just a couple days ago, right? But it's looking like it's it's looking like it's upward bound here, right? So now I did calculate the standard deviation based off of this mean here, and the standard deviation, which is the 68% of the results within the bell curve, you're looking at about 373.40% within that standard distribution, right? So now the lower bound of the first standard deviation is pretty much where I want to focus in on now, because the price has already made a very, very close move to that, right? So if we're talking about the opening of, actually, you know what? It would be the opening of, let's see. Yeah, it would be the opening of this. Let me see. Actually, no. It would be the opening of the prior candle, right? Since we, right about here. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Just align it tight there. I feel like I could get a little closer there too. Sorry, team, I'm very critical with this stuff, right? I want to make sure that we can be as accurate as we can be. There we go. Not bad there. Okay, so that 78% move to the upside would lead price to about $2.09. And as you can see here, just today, we actually faced a top side of $1.86. So if you're curious over what that percentage value is thus far, here it is. We have made a move that's 57.80% so far, okay? So it's looking pretty good. Let's go back to the stats here and see what else we have, because the stats are proving to be pretty useful now. Okay, so now of course, there are a couple other targets for us to evaluate. First of all, it would be the mean, right? The mean would be the second one to kind of go over, which would be 162.05% to the upside based on the firing of the signal. So let's go ahead and just kind of put that in here for the probabilities, right? So from that area there, 162% to the upside would lead, that's close enough, to about $3.09, which is almost exactly, yeah, it is $1 away from the standard deviation of 78%, right? So now that would lead to all this resistance here, which is very curious that it would. It's actually very nice that it would. All right, so now, and then your other target, which is the upper bound of the first standard deviation, which is, clearly pretty far away right now, right? So that would be the target that we would face as a lesser likely target, but we still have to observe it because it is part of the math, right? So you're looking at your standard distribution, or your 68% of the results here at that 30, what was it? The 30, let's see, no, standard deviation of 373, right? So the average upside thrust mean is 162.05%. So that move would be obviously the second one that I would observe, aside from the 78.10% move that I had, right? So beyond that one, of course, we have to observe the 373%. So why don't we just do that, right? Let's just put them all here so that we can observe what price action can do at its eventuality, right? So 373%, was that 373.40? Here we go. You're looking at about a target of around 563, and then moving on to the very top side here of the upper bound of the first standard deviation, 668. We shouldn't even be talking about these targets just yet, but I'm going to put them out there just so that we know what's to come, right? So I think this would be the closest I can get to, and that would suggest a target of about $9.08. Okay, so this is that's that equity curve here that we can see upon the statistical moves. starting to realize. Okay, but first, of course, we need to kind of keep an eye on the 78% target first. Okay, so we don't want to get our hopes too high up here, as the asset has capitulated for, it's gone down a lot, right? So yeah, the first target we want to get is 209. And then we'll evaluate everything else aside from there. Okay, so one more thing that we want to point out here within the stats is that, yeah, we have an upside pivot on stochastic momentum, and we have the critical volatility here, which looks like it's going to start contracting, which is absolutely the criteria that is needed in order for this statistical play to kind of get out. But aside from that, the minimum requirement for the ADX or DMI would be this: 25% ADX and the bulls or DMI plus on top of the bears right here. Bears are under. We have DMI plus on top. Good. Now let's go ahead and measure the ADX and see where we are. We need 25 minimum. Look at that. 25.19% would mark off already a strong trending market to whoever is on top, DMI plus or DMI minus. In this case, DMI plus, aka bulls, leading the way. And the stats are pretty much set to make that statistical move to the upside, okay, or moves to the upside. We'll go ahead and evaluate this as we go. If you are coming on live with me, please consider doing that. We're live intraday to around 10 a.m. Pacific time, right? So please go ahead and consider that. But now from here, I do have something interesting to show here, right? So first of all, let me just go ahead and take a look at this. The 8-hour time frame may be presenting a slight pullback here, and I'm not sure how far of a pullback we're going to be able to get, but that is essentially a shooting star, right? So that could present some negative price action here, but very temporarily, as I do not see this as a reversal. I see this just as a pullback, very likely a breather before continuing on to the upside. And we'll go ahead and validate that, right? But this touchdown here back in, Monday, August 7th, this was when I mentioned to you that this would be the validation before a continuation to the upside based on a macro time frame descending broadening wedge. And this is it right here, right? So we were stuck here for so long, right? Between $3 and $4 for a long time. And then we finally capitulated here. And then we came back and tested that support. And now we're making our way up, right? So, everything is looking pretty good. I am not going to talk about these upside targets yet, right? Because those targets are just astronomically high from the current position. So we have to just be very careful over what we say here, right? So the point is that we already validated that support, so we could be on an upside trajectory now, and that's the important thing. All right, weekly time frame COSM closed bullish engulfing candle here with massive volume entering, which is a continuation or a reversal signal all in its own. This weekly candle here is going to close in 3 days and 17 hours. We need this to close in order for us to validate the continuation to the upside from this bullish engulfing. All right, so this is it's very good. I am definitely a fan over what I'm observing here within the COSM asset. Okay, so I like it. And this is your RSI, right? 30-minute time frame, a little bit of consolidation here that could lead to a potential slight consolidation, slight downside. We're getting a little bit of a hint here from that SMA 14 with a downside pivot, but we're also within this gravitational zone that would pull us up. So if that's the case, then we could see a short-term upside, very immediate, then a downside here, possibly recover. And moving into the bi-hourly time frame, looks like we're using that SMA 14 as a potential support. And now we're sitting in the gravitational zone of the bull strength percentile, which essentially would lead price action towards the upside. Now, the 4-hour time frame is in a little bit of a dangerous area here, as it would get pulled down, but we would have to observe the amount of volatility and push that this bi-hourly time frame and the 30-minute time frame have to offer for this 4-hour time frame to feed off of. Okay, so if it doesn't have enough, then that means that these would essentially fail the temporary upsides, and then these time frames, the 4-hour and the 8-hour, would realize their true nature here because they're in the gravitational zones of the overbought percentile. So this would bring us down ever so slightly. This would bring us down here too, and then we can observe supports a little bit later. Same situation here with a 12-hour time frame, as it's very dangerously close to that gravitational zone too. So all of the immediate short-term time frames are going to be I guess the guiding factor here for the upper time frames, right? But moving on from there, going into the daily time frame, very, very nice upside pivot here. Very convincing, actually, but it is a little bit of a dangerous area here because this is the bullish, this is the bull strength percentile. Gravitational zone here could get a little bit of a pullback there. And the same situation here with a 3-day time frame, little bit of a pullback there as well. But take a look at this. This is what actually caught my attention and absolutely has a lot of rhyming with the statistical backtest that we ran on the 5-day. Take a look at this right here. Bullish crossover of the RSI signal over the SMA 14 represented by the pink line, approaching that gravitational zone of the bear strength percentile. Very likely for this to get pulled to the upside here in the coming week or two. Okay, so there's going to be some choppy action here. There's going to be some reloading zones and then some upside as well, but just know that it's going to be kind of a rocky road, but I do still see upside coming in the coming weeks as well. Or days and weeks, if we can just kind of leave it at that. Okay, team. So as far as specific targets, that gets a little a little shaky, right? So if we are talking about specific targets, first of all, we're just going to have to get over that $1.86 top that we marked off today. So that already gives us a natural area of resistance of which we have to face. Okay, so aside from that, we have a temporary resistance coming up at 169 based off of this wick high. Okay, but so as long as we can, let's see, I would say about an 8-hour to 12-hour candle closure above the 186 level in order for us to start and make our way to the daily gap right over here. Okay, but that's going to be the overall resistance at around $2.12. Okay, so let's see if we can get that in by around maybe, I wouldn't say tomorrow, maybe the following day. But yeah, everything is looking very, very good for the COSM asset. Please take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. I need you to do your own due diligence and everything will be cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well a very, very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios, team.